God, whoever that is to you, wants you to be joyful. God speaks to you through your heart of hearts. Listen. Welcome to my show, Resetting Your Life. My name is Ned Lips. I'm the author of Reset, a story about Sarah's journey from hell to hero, from fearful to utterly fearless, in a world where everything man-made has been removed from the face of the earth. And First Steps, in which Sarah escapes from her brutal, abusive marriage, narrowly getting away with her life and her 2 daughters. My third book, Entwined, continues Sarah's journey to trust and to love as she moves the family forward in a world dominated by pure nature. You can find them on Amazon by searching Ned Lips, Nedlips, or through my website, nedlips.com. Belief. That is a very difficult issue to understand or deal with. This is being uploaded during the holiday season. So, Merry Christmas to those who celebrate that. But beliefs surround this time of year. No one really knows what the truth of life is. We have experiences, we live and we feel and we learn. From that, we choose to believe certain things. We may believe in God, though each believer may have a different understanding as to what or who God is. My mother is absolutely certain there is no such thing as God, or even a spiritual side to the world. Perhaps she's right, but I'm pretty sure she isn't. So, I know that you will take everything that I say and filter it through your own set of beliefs, and that's just fine. You may, as many of us do, simply listen and think to yourself, well, that kind of makes sense. With all of that in mind, this is what I feel is true, what I believe in, whatever that means to you. To me, God is not an old man up in the sky somewhere, sitting on a golden throne with angels all around him, deciding whether or not we're naughty or nice. That just doesn't make any sense to me. But I do believe in God. It's what I believe God is that helps me with that whole concept. To me, God is the interconnection of the souls or spiritual entity of all beings. It is the energy that makes us living, breathing entities. Our bodies are just machines. In fact, we even repair them with whole new parts from another body if we need to, just like your auto mechanic. We, the part of us that makes the machine alive and runs it, is who we are. That is our soul. Our souls are designed to work in harmony with one another. We have free will to ignore that energy, to ignore that voice, to ignore God, but we are always connected to that energy, to God. We are always connected to one another. Through that connection, we can love and help one another find joy in the world. We know in our soul, in our metaphorical heart, the path that is right for us, the path that will help us find joy. It is not predestined. As time passes and we remain connected and we do what we know is right for us, we will learn more, meet people who will guide us, meet others that we're intended to guide, and we will find our way, step by step, to a joyful life. Follow the guidance given to you. You will find it inside you, in your soul, your heart of hearts, your spirit. You will doubt yourself. Others will throw doubt at you. This voice in your soul is God. However you understand that concept, guiding you, speaking to you, helping you along your journey. Relax and follow the path she is laying out for you. Sarah trusts as she searches for her girls in a world where everything man-made has been removed from the face of the earth. This is from Reset, page 27.
One mission, she told herself. Then I'll help. Driving herself forward, she crossed raging creeks and outcroppings of growing trees, following the guidance of the spirits as her mother and Asha had taught her. She was tiring. The run was difficult, and as the plants grew, even with the power of the elephant, it was hard to maintain her pace. She needed help. Reach to the spirits for help, Sarah, came Asha's voice from within, from somewhere. Sarah closed her eyes and let go, allowing herself to feel the spirits in nature all around her. Feeling a pull northwest, she opened her eyes and obeyed. Her soul was her guide. She felt connected to this world as though she were a part of all of it, this ravenous return of nature. For the first time in a long time, she was free of the nightmare that had been her life. This was the sort of reset she and her girls could handle, but her brain fought against her. Am I really part of this? Did I cause it? Is this still an insane dream? Am I in some weird dimension? Are my girls even here?
It is so difficult to let go of the way our brains see and calculate the world wrapped around us. Logic, reason, dogma, culture, rules that others made that govern our lives. I'm not saying that you should throw all this out, but if you come to know in your heart, in your soul, that disobeying or ignoring something from your past is right for you, then I encourage you to do what your heart of hearts is telling you. This is God guiding you. Today, now.
Sarah sat up. Well, my love, I can feel you. She poked his chest. Deep inside me. He smiled mischievously. Not there, silly, though that is wonderful. Inside my soul. She put her hands to her heart. You're the only man I've ever let in there. An old, worrisome sensation crept through her. Fear. She knew it well. Tom, I'm going to tell you, that scares me. It scares me a lot. My experiences with men have been disastrous, to say the least. To let a man into my soul is a big deal for me. This is all new to me, too. The fear grew inside her, the storm igniting it. You can't trust him. You can't trust men, came a voice.
Sarah struggles to believe what she knows in her heart is right for her, to love and totally release herself to Tom, as he has for her. Her past, as ours does, gets in her way. It takes strength and confidence to listen to your heart, to your soul, as it guides you along your ideal path. But I can tell you from experience, it is never wrong. Whoever and whatever you believe God or your higher power is to you, it speaks to you. You can feel it in your soul. And if you follow the path, it guides you along and you do what it asks of you, no matter how hard it may be, it will lead you to joy. I know this is true. I hear that little voice now all the time. I do what I know is right. I've missed events because it was the right thing to do, and I can't count the number of times that I did that and found out that the event was useless and I didn't need to attend. The person I was supposed to hear didn't speak. Something else happened, and it didn't make a difference that I wasn't there. I've done things solely because I knew it was the right thing to do. I've interacted with people I didn't know because it was right. Sometimes what I know is right for me leads to amazing things in my life, but sometimes it's not for me. And perhaps I was simply a piece of some other person's journey, but perhaps an important piece. Happy to be of service. No matter what, it's always been positive. Our special guest today, I'm very excited to have Shelly Snow Pordea. She is a mother and an author and a book coach and does all kinds of stuff. So, Shelly, thank you very much. We're very excited to have you on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me, Ned. I'm excited to be here.
So, you're an author, and you've written how many books now?
I've written 3 books.
And it starts with Tracing Time. That's the first one, right?
Yes, and it's a trilogy, so it's a sequential, story that goes kind of in order.
Right. And what made you decide that you wanted to write books? You used to live in Europe, and you've done all kinds of stuff. So what made you decide to become an author?
Well, I always wrote. It was just part of my passion, I guess. And my dad was an author, and he always encouraged me to write, but I was a little intimidated by him. He was given kind of a book deal, sought after, that kind of thing. And so I just never thought that I was good enough to do that. But when he passed away, I started writing a story because it was the only thing that would really get me through my grief, I think. And it wasn't until 5 years later that I finally decided that I really wanted to do something with the story. So I finished it and I published, and then I just decided this is really what I want to do.
So is this what you do now more or less full time, but you also do, what else? You also do book coaching and a few other things.
Yeah, so I do still write, but I expanded my business this year in 2019 to include some book coaching and helping others kind of get their story out. I realized as I kind of went along the journey that it was, not so much that everybody wants to read a book of fiction, but everybody wants to talk about their own story, right? And so they would ask me more about what the journey was like than really what the story was about. And so I just kind of leaned into that and decided that if this is what's being asked of me right now, I might as well do it.
So you decided to sort of follow in your father's footsteps, but this was your own personal passion. Is that something I can say? Writing books?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I always dreamt that I would be able to do it someday, but I think that, life just kind of throws these expectations at you, and you lean into these roles that, people think that you should do and be. And I don't regret it. I was an educator for good many years. I lived overseas for about 15 years. And so I had a really great experience. But those little nagging things that you always said that you'd do that you hadn't done yet were still present. And I think that, turning 41 was kind of a catalyst for me. It wasn't 40. It was like after a year in this decade had already gone by, I was like, wait a second, is this, whole thing going to pass me by without doing what I really want to do? So that was more or less the story.
So you've known in your heart, in your soul, that this was your path.
Yeah, I think so. I'm probably since the 6th grade when I had my first writing assignment as a creative writing assignment. And funny enough, the subject was time travel. And my 6th grade teacher just told me that I had a gift and that I should, I guess perfect my craft. And not that she used those words to a 6th grader, but in essence, that's what she was saying. She's like, you should really go to school for this and think about this. And she saw a talent in me that I didn't recognize myself until many years later.
So tell us a little bit about what your books are about.
Sure. So as you said, the first one is Tracing Time. And I mentioned that I had lost my dad. And so I feel like that book just comes from the perspective of I think there are moments in life where you really just wish you could trace back to the time where you had this, euphoric feeling almost, and you want to regain those moments that you lost. And that's what I was going through when I lost my dad. So it's really about a girl who has lost something great and decides that she's going to pursue that, but it's at great risk to what she has. And so then book 2 picks up in from her daughter's perspective, because there's a gap in time that she was missing. And so there are prices to pay for that. And so it just explores the relationships between, loss and a mother-daughter specifically relationship. And then book 3 kind of follows the quest of the daughter who also made the sacrifice of traveling through time and ends up having a child of her own, and explores the relationship of those 3 generations of women who kind of try to figure out what the world is about and how they can save their family. And it has a little undertone of saving the earth as well. So.
That's cool. I mean, we all have these moments where, gosh, I wish I could go back and fix that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think one of the things that, I talk about is you can start right now with what God is telling you or leading you, the path God is leading you down, and follow that voice that's inside of you. Absolutely.
And I think that rings true in my life simply because I was able to do what I'm doing now. And I was supported by my family, but, there are a lot of people in life who'd be like, what are you doing? You're changing careers at 41 years old and you're doing all these things differently. And even now, 3 years later, I'm like, well, maybe I'll include coaching and do this and that. It's kind of like unsettling for some people. But for me, it really rings true of like, I'm just following that voice. I need to do what I'm doing now because I ignored it for a while.
So tell us a little bit about your coaching and how that fulfills your personal passions.
Sure, yeah. So of course, I think that every story has this message. There is an underlying message to any story. And so for me, it was really about a young woman who found herself as a young mother, and she had lost a piece of herself and really wanted to regain finding that again. And so like I said, people don't always want to talk about the plot of my story, but they want to talk about my own journey. And so when I recognized that people really just want to relate to the journey I'm having as well as the characters, I can kind of infuse my knowledge and help them express their story. I really truly believe that every story matters. I mean, like if you think about it, stories shape our society, right? It's literally the stories we tell. It's not necessarily what's real or not real. The stories we tell become reality. And so just being able to offer that to, I would say students, but not really. I'm a former teacher, so I call my clients my students.
Right.
But, being able to offer that insight to the people who are really just yearning to share their own story is invaluable to me. So I'll do workshops, and I'm offering a class. So I do a group class setting where I'll take about the maximum 12 people, and we'll walk through a journey of 3 months of really honing a manuscript, outlining it, getting a word count in, and understanding the process of what it means to write a manuscript that can be ready for publication. So I'll do that in January and take a group of people through that for 3 months, about 3.5 months, really. And then I'll do that one other time this year. And then I also just do one-on-one consultation. A lot of people are self-starters,
Right.
like you just need a boost of like, point me in the right direction. I don't want to use my Google search engine for absolutely everything. So I'll, walk people through that journey as well if the course isn't right for them.
And does this bring you personal joy? And do you feel like you've sort of found your path with coaching? Or are you going to do more writing? Or is it a combination?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm a writer. So
Right.
I love writing, and I still write every day. But I think that this is really filling a space inside of me. And it's also helping me make sense of my own story. I think that a lot of times we'll look at our lives and be like, I can't believe I went through that, and it doesn't make sense. And this for me makes a lot of sense. I, was in the classroom for 15 years, well, a little longer than that. And it gives me some skills to be able to break down a process in a way that people understand, because I'm used to teaching. And so I think that has served me well in this journey as I'm going along, because I understand how to make a lesson and lesson plan and follow along and have a schedule. And a lot of times that's just the hard work that people can't do on their own. So yeah, that really fulfills me and makes sense of my own story.
So Shelly, if someone wants to reach out to you, needs a coach, how do they find
sure. You can find me on Facebook is where I have a lot of visibility. And that's just my name, Shelly Snow Pordea, on Facebook. Or you can also go to my website by that name. But my coaching services are fully listed on thecreativeyou.com. So I'll give you the direct links if you'd like, but it's spelled The Creative, and you drop the E and just add the letter U. So it's thecreativeyou.com. I love to explore creativity. I have some plans in the future. I actually do have a shop up of my own designs and things that I do just for fun through that. And I want to talk more and teach more a little bit about the creative journey and what that looks like. I think that all of us are creative. One of the things that I tried to bring to a classroom when I was in it was a large amount of creativity and a minimal amount of structure, just enough to get the kids kind of in the space where they can create. And so that's really what I've branded myself under this past year in 2019.
Well, Shelly, I really appreciate you coming on. That's all the time we have today, but thank you so much, and Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much for watching my video podcast, Resetting Your Life. Please subscribe to my channel by clicking on the little button and the bell so that you will be notified when the next episode is posted. Tell all your friends, relatives, and countrymen, and share to your social media. if you'd be so kind. I'm told I'm supposed to ask all of you to do that for me. I'd love to have you like my Facebook page, Ned Lips Author, to keep up with my blog posts and writing endeavors. You can read the text of my portion of this program and find more at my blog. You can only get the interviews here though. Sorry about that. You can find all of my books at my Amazon author page. Please follow me by clicking the button. And after you've read any of my books or listened to them on Audible, please post a review. Thank you again, and I wish you a wonderful life as you explore your passions, exploit your superpowers, and find your joy.